morning, everybody. Welcome to today's From Boxes to Butterflies. Today is going to be more of a solo show, although you just never know who might show up. So, with that, I want to get into some of the normal announcements because we have so many different things to talk about, to go over, starting with check in on people around you. It's one of these things where I know so often we see people, they look like they're doing fine, and then we hear later on that something happened, they weren't doing well. You know somebody who they had problems like 4 or 5 months ago, a death in the family, medical emergency. It could be so many different things. So many of these things, they don't just happen in that moment. It takes time to recover. It takes time to get through it. And while we may see them up front and it's like, oh, they look like they're doing fine now. Wow. It's not always that way. And we're so good at wearing masks, which is something I talk about so much. We cover ourselves, we hide these aspects. So think about those around you and be there to check in on them. And like I put in the announcement, you just never know who's going to show up today. So it's going to be a fun day. I want to start with a shout out to the Hounds of Business. It's a community that is focused on people first. Business is a part of it, but it's collaboration over competition. It's a place. It's like, go check them out. Look them up. Hounds of Business on LinkedIn. Find Mike Ashebrainer. Mike is the leader of the Hounds. And see, reach out to him. Say, hey, I heard about you guys. I want to know more. Reach out to him. Reach out to other Hounds. You'll see some in the comments today. And just find out what it's like to be in a community that focuses on collaboration over competition. What it really is like to be with people who want to lift each other up, not beat each other down. That's kind of what it comes down to. And my other amazing sponsor, Level Up Academy, with my dear sisters, Dr. Constance Leland. Level Up is there to lift, to help you level up through education and, quite frankly, many other ways. Public relations, magazines, being on podcasts, on radio. There's so many different things. And talking about press releases, I mean, there's my beautiful sister right there. And look at all these industries she has access to. So if you've got a project, you've got something that you are ready to just put out there to lift, you're ready for the recognition. Reach out to CJ and say, hey, I heard about this. I want to know more, because she's got access to hundreds of outlets, maybe even thousands. You never know. And there's different styles. I mean, there's premium, which is the pay to play to get into those magazines. But again, my sister is very good at finding deals, finding discounts. And she was able to get me into 6 different magazines at a price that was like crazy because of discounts. So reach out, tell her what you're looking for. If this is the right time, then hey, get out there, get the word spread. And another thing is, I have a number of books because I do write. And so I just want to put out there, here are some of the books that I write. I do writing, I do editing, I do a lot of different things. There's a reason why I never quite fell under that Jack of all trades or Jill of all trades saying, but maybe I'll come back to that and give you the rest of that story. But here's these books. Faith of the Butterfly is my Reinvention memoir. It was traditionally published. Armor of God, that series, that really focuses on what it means to move beyond boxes and shine as your authentic self. That is the story of the main character in these two books. That was self-published. Then there's the anthologies. So you can see my most recent anthology, which I was actually the publisher for that one came out in June. So it was #1 international bestseller, following on the heels of the one that Dr. Leland put out in March. So we worked on both of those, and anthologies is another way to get published. So there's many different avenues to get published, and I've been on most of them, it seems like. So, but I want to say hi, see who's here. Ollie is like so quick. I love seeing Ollie in the comments. He's got a way with words himself, which, I mean, it should be why he deals with language and works with people all the time. And there's dear sister Michelle. And yes, CJ is very amazing. But then, when you get somebody amazing and you open up the show, it's like, who's going to stop by? And well, somebody did stop by, and I'm going to bring that somebody up right now if she's ready. I think she's ready. Is she ready? You have to unmute. You're not going to unmute? Ooh, I can't hear you at all. Wait. Nope, it's not my computer. I had to double check. I had that problem with Jackie once.
Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yep, I can hear you now.
You can't read lips. I'm like, what do you mean? You can't read lips?
I never quite got into the lip reading class.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, okay, so I have too many options, I think, in my computer. I work in 2 laptops, an iPad, and an iPhone all at the same time. So yeah.
Yeah, it keeps life jumping, busy, so many things. But today's going to be a fun day because it's really kind of an open day, kind of starting year 2, as it were, since somebody got me to start year 1 in the first place.
Yes, that was a good year. Second year is growth. With business, it takes about at least 5 years to get comfortable. The first year, you don't really know what the hell is happening, honestly. You just kind of stick with something and you go with the flow. The second year, it's still painful. You're kind of looking at like how we're going to do this and who we're going to collaborate and who are we going to partner up if you survive the drama on the first year. Then the third year, it's like, okay, now how do I really expand on this thing, right? So I think if you're a business owner and you're like, wow, nothing is happening in my business, I suck, don't be hard on yourself. There's studies out there that it takes about 5 years to really get where you need to be. And that 5 years, literally, guys, is like a landing, right? Like you have to work hard on the second year on collaborating and pivoting and collaborating and pivoting, and make sure that you're coachable. because if there's other people out there who's giving you information, test it first before you take it to ground. Does that make sense? Because everybody has a lot of opinion. And when you're already sad that your business is not going where it's supposed to be, you're trying to test it. Watch out for those people who forces you or makes you feel bad if you don't buy their services. I hate those.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't handle it.
And we've all dealt with them. Those who are like,
Yeah.
they use a logic, or they figure out. I mean, for some of us, and I've learned it from just from my ADHD. Once you know some of these things that can happen, that they can maybe make you more susceptible to some of this. Once you know it, then you can ignite that awareness to go, okay, next time I can see it. I see what's happening. I know to step back and not get into it. But it can be so hard because so many people have so many different approaches, and all they care about is close the sale. And too often it's close the sale without really figuring out, is this person even right to work with them? They don't care. They just want the money. And that's the type I don't like at all, because then we're sitting there going, all this money gets wasted and we don't really get a value out of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's not good energy too, right? Like when you're paying for somebody but you don't really feel like you got the value, it's also not good energy. But you got to speak up. I think what we've learned from it is we're all going to be there. Don't feel bad. There's going to be transactions where you're like, I didn't really get much out of that, right? Don't
Right.
beat up yourself. Just look at like what are some of the lessons learned that you actually got from that. And sometimes it's not the value from the services or the products that you buy, it's the lessons that comes with it that you're
It,
buying, that experience, right? Yeah.
yeah. And they can be expensive lessons. And then you, too often though too, it's like kicking ourselves for having done that, for having to pay for that lesson. But at the same time, I will throw out the butterfly effect. And it's a time travel type aspect of the butterfly effect, where everything that happens to us in the past, the good and the bad, and those lessons that we wish we didn't have to learn, is what makes us who we are now. So once you
Yeah.
stand and you become successful, you wouldn't be where you are no matter what without those lessons of the past that you sit back and you cringe. It's like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Well, if you hadn't done that, you may not be anywhere near where you are now.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's sometimes it's the experiences that you really get. And also don't look at all the bad experiences from that. Like, oh my God, I was so dumb to even do this, because now you're beating yourself up, right?
Right.
So instead of doing that, just say, okay, what did I learn that I paid for for this? And sometimes it's really hard to face the music, right? And sometimes it's really hard. Hey, bro, listen, it's on the YouTube. It's on the YouTube. This one is not. This is you can't buy this anywhere because I got this pre-made from somewhere. It's actually not a sticker. It's actually sewn in. Like it's really sewn in there. But there is a trucker's hat that has camo on it, that has the level up in there, and also the rebels with a cause in there. So if you guys want to create and join our movement, you can. There's a notebook. Our ebook's coming out this Friday. I'm going to try to get it out for 24 hours for free, but we do want your review. Please, 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 if you can. Lots of amazing people who really pour their heart out on this one to get their stories out there, to show you that even in the face with adversity, to the point where you question your own life if it's worth living, they're doing it, right?
Yeah, and that's why even when I started, I like talking about, think about all the different anthologies that you and I have been in, because we started that journey last year.
Yeah, yeah. I felt like we started it more than that, but yeah, you're right. We just started
No,
it
it
last year.
was,
We've done so much already in like a year.
dear, the first one was July 7th. That was the first one.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
by the end of August, we'd been in 3 together.
yeah.
No, we'd been in 2 together. I had one that you
Never
weren't in.
Giving Up is the only one I don't have. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
which
then
is
I
which is why
created
I
my
sent it
own.
to you. That's why I had to send it to you.
Yeah,
So you,
that's why I have it. Yeah, it's yeah. But I just saw your. I picked up your this book yesterday, and I was reading it because you have a picture here at the end. And I'm looking at it, and I'm like, my sis, I'm so proud of her that she said yes to wigs.
I'll listen to you.
I know it's scary. And you met my daughter yesterday through um FaceTime, and it was funny. She's like, "Sorry, Susannah, I was trying to wear wigs for my mom because if you know her, she's just crazy like that." And she's on her green wig, and you're like, "Uh-huh, I know how crazy your mom is."
But
Yeah, that was funny.
it almost looked like a Rasta wig for what she was wearing.
Yeah, she had a hat on, and she had like this green wig from her friend because she was trying to say like, "Yeah, my mom's crazy. Let me show you FaceTime." And then she didn't know we were together trying to get our ebook together out for our Rebel. And I'm like, "Oh, my daughter is picking up. I have to pick up because she doesn't live at home, and I want to make sure she's okay."
Exactly.
And I was kind of stressed out yesterday about something, and then so I ended up making my lipstick bling. So I have my Christian Dior, and it was so boring, so I bling it out because I'm crazy. And then my other Lancome lipstick, I bling it out because I'm crazy. So I like red and pink; those are my thing. So I bling my lipsticks out. Now it's heavy, but it's okay.
I just sit
Oh
here and
my
go,
gosh.
oh my goodness, what is it? Where am I going to end up doing that now?
Yeah, I love doing things creatively. I think sometimes that's my de-stressor. And then
It is.
writing definitely is my de-stressor. But I have an appointment today, but she hasn't really texted me. She's from the Hounds, and I'm hoping that she will text me back because I do have an appointment with her at 9:30. And I wanted to talk about that too because I had an appointment with someone last Monday, but they didn't show up. And so I just texted. If you don't show up, I don't really care. I don't lose any. Like, I used to care, but I'm way too busy to care. So I literally just texted, like, "Hey, I'm sorry that you missed your appointment. I hope all is well." And she was in the hospital. She's like, "I am so sorry. Can we reschedule?" And I said, "Sure. Here's my calendar." And she's like, "I can't talk to you until December." And I'm like, "Yeah, unfortunately, that's the only thing I have because my calendar is the way I'm going to explain is that it's set up where I only have availability for coffee chats for new people on Mondays. And then Tuesdays is Hounds of Business Community. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is open for business. Like, I have a business to run, so I open those for business. And then, of course, my Saturdays, sometimes I'll take it, but usually Saturdays is either a book club or a sisters hallelujah moment that we go in. And then Monday, actually at 8 o'clock, I missed the podcast circuit this Monday. The reason being is I'm still working on the podcast book, the notebook that I'm trying to get you guys out. I really want to get that out, and then I also just need 10 to 15 people that's solid on their to put on the directory that already has an existing podcast, and then the rest of the people who doesn't have a podcast who still wants can have the notebook, and we can have a class. It's actually a free podcast circuit class, but I'm closing it only for 10 to 15 people. I'm not going to have more than that, is because I want to solidify this 10 to 15 people, and I don't want no users on this group either. I will kick you out, and I will blast you out if I have to spend so much time to give you so much time and you're not coming in with a good heart. I'm going to tell you that, warning. I'm done with users. I'm so done with people who just abuse you, and then once they get something out of you, they're just gone. And there's a trend apparently that's happening on LinkedIn, and I know who you are. I'm keeping my mouth shut, and the troublemakers out there, I also know who you are, and I'm keeping my mouth shut. But push me a little bit more, and your name will be on Canva with a link to your LinkedIn, and it's not a good thing. And I'm trying to, if you know how to block someone on LinkedIn, listen, I know how to block people. I blocked 20 already, but for some reason, certain people on LinkedIn, I cannot block. So I'm going to try to write to LinkedIn people to see that this new rule that they have, like if you're interacted in the audio room, if you're the speaker, they can't block you. Come on. I just want to block you. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to see your face. I don't like the energy, and just be dead and move on. Right. I just don't want that. And you're in my room sometimes and I cringe. But I don't also want to create that tension. So I just let it be. But I really don't want to be in space with anybody I don't like. Why do I have to be subjected to that? This is not cool that you don't have that option. So that's where I'm at, sister. I'm renting now.
Well, and I have a connection within LinkedIn too. I haven't talked with her in a while, but she's the one that helped me do to clean up my LinkedIn when I did a merge. And so she is a part of LinkedIn and has those connections. So I might be able to get something from her too. And say, how do we do this? Because the rules aren't protecting people.
No. But we can do it. We can do it because it's just a matter of like time and stuff. And also, thank you for blocking me. I don't block anyone. They block me though. Keeping a deeply rooted oak tree. Yeah, that will never change. We just have people like, I also want to talk about this, right? So if you have a community, like Level Up has a community, but we don't have an intentional community where we actually like meet and all that, like does Hounds of Business community, because he already does that. So I didn't want to create that. But what I have a community on that I want to create really is a podcast circuit and a program for Level Up. Certain programs I'm going to run 4. One will be wellness, one will be book and publishing, and then definitely podcast circuit and social media, and then business, right? Those are the 4 programs that we're going to run, and each of those programs will have what you call like a dean, and I'll be pretty much everywhere on all those 4. But I want to give it to somebody who I trust on those certain programs. Again, the minute I feel like you're a user, you're out. I don't need to explain myself either. Because I think we get into this like, oh, I have to explain why. No, I don't. I will explain to you, and if you give me more attitude, I'm out. I'm not getting wrinkles from nobody. This one is expensive. Okay, so this magic one.
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah, it's expensive. Okay, to like detach my wrinkles over here. But I mean, wellness, that's part of wellness, by the way. I'm on TikTok showing you how to use it, by the way, on these products. I actually have a lot. Let me see if I can. Okay, so I'm just saying, like, I go on TikTok and show you how to do, skincare. And it's going to be part of wellness. And I think that's what I want to do is I want to have 4 programs within that, like book club, authors club, and the social media, the magazine, and the podcast is in one. And then the podcast circuit is in one. And then business, we're talking about community. Mike could possibly get that with somebody else, where we just talk about community, how we can do that. Um, Michelle Ramos, calling Michelle Ramos. Maybe you could do the dynamic village with me because I need help. Like I need help on all of certain things that you guys can lead on your own, and that's why my calendar is open because I have a lot in my head. So if you are in my calendar and you're complaining like, "Oh, I can't see you until like December," that's why I'm busy trying to level up with the community, and I like a doer, not a talker. And if you don't like something that I do, don't talk and gossip about me because I can't fix that. Instead, I'm more irritated. Just tell me, like, hey, CJ, can I talk to you? And don't go to my calendar if you already know who I am. Like, we already talk and we have projects. Don't go to my calendar and complain because it's not happening over there. Just DM me on LinkedIn and say, hey, can I talk to you? I want to do this with you, or I'm not happy with this. Or, anytime you're in our book and you're not happy with a chapter, don't print it and then complain after the fact because we can't do nothing about it. At that point, it's just criticism and complain, and we don't care for those. And just move on and just block me, please. At that point, because I can't block you, so just block me.
I love it. Okay, I have to do this one because when I see the CS here, so we're talking about the block button, the reason. I see CS, and the first thing I do is go back to the military and CS gas.
What the heck is a CS? Why are you guys having your own dangalingo? Madea.
Who knows? Because to me, it's like that same. It's like the tear gas that they. I see CS, and I'm thinking military, and being stuck in a little room, having to take off a mask with the gas going in there, and choking on it while trying to get out.
Horrible.
And then Mikey's got his tumbleweeds, but for me, it's sagebrush. I can't do tumbleweeds. I grew up with the military. We were training in the high desert south of Boise almost every year, and that meant sagebrush. That's what we had.
Yeah. Also, I think everybody pretty much know, right? Like you guys, my Zoom room. If you try to go in my Zoom room and you don't have an appointment, you're not coming in. I'm just saying. I had a person try to come in while I'm in the middle of the meeting, and they just stay there the whole time. And so I emailed them and said, hey, we didn't have an appointment today. And they're like, oh, we're just testing if we can go in. I'm like, obviously you didn't. Please don't do that.
Oh, geez.
But, like,
Don't test.
It is crazy. I'm gonna see if this appointment of mine is here. If she is, then I have to go. But if she isn't, then I will stay. But what is our topic today, sister? I'm all about topic too. That's another thing. When you go to audio room, please stick to the topic and stop doing your sales pitch. I'm so irritated yesterday. But yeah.
I on purpose, I left things wide open for today because it just allowed for more opportunity. And we've touched on stuff already. It's I threw in belonging because I'm talking about it so much, and that's part of the community. That's part of just being someplace where somebody's got your back. There's move beyond boxes and shine. I mean, that is everything I talk about. And quite frankly, those two are so connected. There's being your authentic self and awareness. And I kind of tie those two together because who we are, many times we know who we are at our core, but we don't really act on it. It's just like everything else. You should do something, but you don't. Yet when you step back and think about it and you let your awareness say, okay, I'm done playing this game of not being who I am, not doing these things that I know I have to do. Once that awareness kicks in, then you can actually take the steps to move from that place of being stuck. And which is why I say, if knowing is half the battle, then awareness is the first step. The first step to accomplishing something, the first step out of the box, whatever. And then there's storytelling. So I mean, in many ways, we've already touched in various ways on everything. This is all those things. And then I said at the beginning, one of the things there's that saying, a jack of all trades is a master of none. And
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of these phrases out there that people say these, and you just sit back and go, okay, that means I need to master something. I need to niche down. I need to whatever.
We don't need to niche down. I do love you.
You got to go.
I'm gonna
No,
go, and I'll
love
see
you.
you in 30 minutes. I'll see you in 30
Awesome.
minutes.
Be
Okay,
there.
bye, guys.
Bye. Oh, my dear sister. But when it comes to that saying, Jack of all trades, Jill of all trades, and everybody feels like you have to niche down. You have to be one or two things, and that's all you should be. Well, the real phrase is a jack of all trades is a master of none, as a master of one. That's what it is. A jack of all trades is a master of one. So there's where everybody's niching down. But the other half of it is a master of none is better than one, because you know so many different things. You're not siloed into doing just one thing, being one thing. And so when we think about this, and so many people, those who want to niche down, hey, go for it. But think about entrepreneurs. You are, in many ways, you have to know all this different stuff. And you may have one thing that you focus on, but you still, whatever that topic is, you still need to know bookkeeping. You still need to know marketing, sales. You still need to know how to promote yourself. You still need to know how to work with other people and so many other things. Being a master of one thing, knowing just one thing, doesn't work for an entrepreneur. And for some of us, we just can't fit those boxes anyway. Been there, done that. It don't work for me. So think about what it is that you really are at your core. Who are you? And are you doing what you know you should be doing? Or are you just doing what other people have told you because you think they know better, or they think they know better and they've convinced you that they know better? And it's like this, I can talk this from my own history. Because from the moment that I was placed in boxes at the age of 7, something happened with my dad, and it just was, this is what you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to do, this is how you're supposed to act. And you know it's wrong, but your parents said this is it. Or your best friend said this, or an adult that you look up to said this. And now you're trying to be that which you know at your core you're not. This isn't who you are. So think about what it's like to basically contort yourself to fit a box that you don't belong in the first place, to be put in something that it can't even identify who you are. You look at it and you're like, well, I'm trying to be this because everybody says this is what I should do. And for me, one of the things where it really hit home in high school, I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be an astronomer. And all I got from my dad was he didn't see how there was any advancement in it. He didn't see any purpose for it. To him, if you're going to, once you get out of high school, you have to go find a job that's going to pay well, that's going to be secure, that's going to allow you to advance. And the only options out there were things that I didn't want to do. And by that point, I mean, we're talking almost a decade of dealing with being stuck in a box that I never fit anyway. I'd already lost all of my self-worth, my ability to kind of stand up for myself, because I feared my dad. I didn't trust him. And then I just pulled away from everybody and closed off. And what else do? We get stuck. We put the mask on. You see, I talk masks as well because we all do this. We put the mask on to make people think we're doing okay when we're not. We put the mask on to hide something about us. Either it's that, okay, you told me this is what I should do, so I will put the mask on. I will put something on with a smile. I will make it look like I'm happy doing whatever it is I'm doing, even though I'm not happy doing it, even though I really hate it. Off we go, doing what we think others are telling us to do. So what happens when you stand up? You know who's in control. You know your fear is a part of that control. Very much so. Our fear knows everything about us. So it does everything it can do to hold us in a box. It does everything to tell us in seductive words what will happen if we leave the safety of that box. If we do what we want to do, it will say, you do that and these negative things are going to happen. This is why I talk about it being fear weaves a web of lies with a grain of truth. So that web of lies, think of a spider web. It's not always easy to look through a spider web because it's still got the strands there. Yeah, there's thin, and sometimes you can't see it depending on what direction you're standing. But oftentimes you see the web and it blurs everything behind it. But you can see a truth that's in front of the web. There's always that grain of truth. Maybe you see the spider sitting there. It's like, oh, there's a spider there. So everything else blurred, but there's the spider. Or there's something that's caught in the web. You just sit back and accept what fear is telling you, because all you can see is the grain of truth. If you do this, this is going to happen. And this is going to happen because it happened to you in the past. It's something that you see in news, in what other people are doing. So-and-so talked about it. It gives you that grain of truth that you see. So when you look through the cracks of the walls of whatever box you're stuck in, that web of lies blurs the truth so that you only see that which your fear wants. It's like those who control us. They only give us enough information so that we can only see what they say is the truth, and not being able to see the full picture. The minute you see the full picture, when you realize that there's all this blur and you look through the cracks, you look at what's going on and you see the real picture, you realize that you can drop the shackles of the box. You can step out there. It's okay to step out there. And again, I know this very well because when I hit that point where I was able to take control back from my fear, I was able to say, I am done trying to be that which I'm not, because it's not who I am. And now I'm going to step out of this box, and it's going to be scary. And at the beginning, you find yourself looking for all those reasons to crawl back into the box. It's kind of how that works. It's like you're crawling. So once you have that, exactly, truth does not have two sides. And they could, the truth could be the truth, your truth could be the truth, or it could be in the middle. So you could take that, you take the three that Michelle's got here. It's like their truth is what they believe, your truth is what you believe, and it's probably somewheres on a line between the two of you that could be closer to one, the other, or dead center between. So being in that box, taking those steps to move beyond it, it's scary. And then once you've done it, sometimes, depending on the situation, you will sit back and start opening up to other people. You'll allow cracks in your walls. You'll let them know whatever it is that you're hiding. Maybe it's your neurodiversity, and you're afraid because mental health, it can be have such a negative stigma to it. You don't want people to know that you have ADHD or OCD or pick whatever, or a combination of them. Then you step back. Once you start letting people see that truth, now you're watching to see how they react. And when the reaction is at least neutral to positive, you feel better about taking those steps. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of a rant here because there are other things. Once people learn something about us, whatever it is, it can be the neurodiversity, overcoming an addiction of some type, marital issues, LGBTQ, having come from a different country, being an immigrant, being from a different region of the country, whatever it is. Because we use that and we hide it all the time because we're afraid of what are people going to say. One example I like to play with is, let's take that Southern Belle who is working for a company in the North, and she could be an Ivy Leaguer. She just knows everything she's doing, but she puts the mask on to hide because she doesn't want, she tries to change her voice because she doesn't want anybody to know she's from the South, because they might have that stereotype. And we deal with it all the time. And so that's why we've got these masks all the time. But once we let the guard down, once we drop, and once we let people know, here's the other thing. You drop your guard, you're like, this is me, but don't put me in a box. Don't all of a sudden say, oh, you're ADHD. I know this person that's ADHD. You're going to want to meet them. You're from India. Well, I know this person from India. So you guys obviously want to meet. Take your pick. You're within the LGBT community. And so obviously you want to meet other people in that community. That's not always the case. And for many of us, that's not the case at all. Many of us, these boxes that we could be put in, we have no connection to it. We don't identify with those boxes in any way, shape, or form. But other people, it's like you want to meet people, you know who you want to meet, you know who you're looking for, and somebody's like, hey, I know some people it would be great for you to connect with. You want to take it. It's like they're helping you. And then they drop you into the box and connect you with people that you just don't feel comfortable with because they think that's who you are and everybody in that box is the same. Well, quite frankly, let's just take the neurodiversity box. You can have ADHD, OCD, bipolar, borderline, autism, so many different things. So it's like you have A, B, C, D, you got the freaking alphabet there. And so maybe you're the M within that alphabet. Well, they figure you want to meet anybody in that alphabet because all the letters are in there and you're one of them. So obviously, no. This is where we got to find that way to let people know who we are and try and find that way to let them know just because I told you this piece about me does not mean that's the group that I am looking to connect with because I don't identify that way. I identify this way. This is who I'm looking to connect with. When I sit here and talk and look at what I do, because I know there's probably some people like, what do you do? As a speaker, as a writer, even on business, I talk belonging. I talk moving beyond these boxes. I talk taking back control of our lives. How many times have you sat there and it's like, you know who's got control, but you don't know how to get out. You're afraid to take control because maybe they won't like you anymore. Maybe they won't want to be around you. And that's another thing about masks. When we take the mask off, we could lose people in our life because they don't accept that part of us. Been there, done that. And if they're not going to accept you for who you are at your core, then what's the purpose of contorting yourself just because you want to be around them, just because you want to fit in, just because you think it's where you belong? So when I talk, these are the things I want to ignite, that awareness that it's time to take back control. And there are ways to take back control. If it's an organization, you want your organization to be the best it can be. But if people don't feel like they belong, if they don't feel like it's safe to take off their mask and be their authentic self, then why would they really want to be there? They're not going to give you their best ideas. They're not going to give you their full self of who they are because they know that if they give some of their best ideas, it could open a window into something about them that they're covering because they're afraid that if they tell you this about them, that you will treat them differently or they won't have a home in that business anymore. So when you have an organization that says they create a sense of belonging and they create it, they make it, then people are more likely to stay, give their best ideas, be there to really support the company and not be looking for someplace else to go to so that they can find a safer place. And here's the other thing. A lot of companies It's like they will tell you, oh yeah, we know that if somebody leaves, it can cost twice as much as what they were paying that person to go ahead and hire somebody else. So why does a company sit back and accept those kind of losses? It's like, oh, we're doing well. Well, you could do better if you weren't wasting money trying to replace people because they're not happy. So let's find that way. When it comes to a company, it's like sit down, find out about the people. What do they want? What do they need? What makes them feel safe? And always know that it changes with time. When you have people who want to be in your organization, they want to be in your community, they feel safe, and it makes them feel better about engaging, then that's an opportunity to really grow the organization, the company, and to make it a better product, a better service, a better place for everybody. So that's the business side of it. And being able to help people move beyond boxes to feel safe, to watch them fly. Because when I say it's time to fly, that's really what happens when we move beyond those boxes. It's why I will go from boxes to butterflies. Boxes, we're stuck, we're contorting ourselves, we're trying to fit in where we don't really fit in. We're trying to fit in because we think that's where we need to be. Or it's where we want to be, and we're not willing to give it up for at our authentic self, at our core being, to be who we really are. We need to be that. We need to stop trying to be that which we're not. So, a lot of stuff within that. The boxes, the hiding, the masks. And when I talk about those masks, I mean, they're everywhere. We will wear masks with our families. We will wear masks at work, at church, with relatives, even in our own homes. We may wear masks because there's something about us that we don't want to let others know, even in the home, whether it's our family, whether it happens to be like a collection of people that are just renting different rooms in a house. But we spend this time hiding. And think about it. When we put those masks on, that means we have to spend energy maintaining the mask. So here's another thing for business. When you feel safe enough to be in an organization to take off the mask, you've freed energy for other things. When we walk into a workplace, we walk into a conference, into any place, and we're basically trying to hide ourselves, we are spending so much energy to keep that mask in place, to build these walls around us to stay safe so that nobody can find out whatever it is that we're afraid to let them know. If we could finally just normalize some of this stuff so that we didn't have to feel like we had to hide it, think of what it would be like to be in an organization, to be in a community where you can take that mask off It doesn't mean you have to tell everybody whatever it is that you've been hiding, because that's your choice. You take that mask off, and it's like releasing a weight off of your shoulders, off of you. You're not maintaining the mask, you're not maintaining the wall. Then somebody walks up and says, "Hey, I heard this about you." When that mask is off, then you can look that person in the eye and say, well, whether that's true or not is really none of your business, because it's not. It's yours to decide who you're going to tell. So over time, think about who you're talking with, who you open up to. And this is why when I sit down with my sisters, and CJ was here, and with Danielle, there's a reason why I feel safe with them, that I don't need a mask whatsoever. And if I say something about what was behind the mask, I don't have to worry how they're going to react. And then there'll be another ring outside of that, of those who they know this stuff, and you feel safe opening up. And in all cases, it's like reciprocity. You want to be able to reciprocate the sharing, the however open that you can be with somebody. You want to make sure that they can be that same openness with you. So reciprocity is so important to belonging. When you have that place and you can say, this is how I feel, this is what's going on, and you feel safe doing that, it opens up a whole new level of trust. It opens up a whole new level of engagement. And it can open up a whole new level of opportunities. Because let's face it, it's not really fun to work with people that you don't feel safe around and can't quite trust. So that's kind of all this stuff today. It's like it was great having CJ here. Get to talk more about what she's doing. There's just so much going on. And there's more stuff, like she said, there's more stuff coming down the pipe. And it's going to be fun to see what happens and where the collaboration takes everything. We still have the book club, and we'll probably be doing our video for this month fairly soon. So I'll have to see what that one is. But the book club, publishing, writing, and I'm looking at creating more workshops, different types of programs for writing, because there is so much. Storytelling is a part of everything we do. It's part of marketing. It's part of how we engage with people. It's in anthologies. It's in books. It's in the podcasts. It's in live streams, audio rooms. Everything is a story. How do you make that story connect with other people? That's some of the stuff that when we do anthologies, that's part of what I talk with authors about at the beginning of our anthologies. Think about how you're writing it. A lot of people, they're focused on who's your audience, and there's some good stuff about that. At the same time, there's the, okay, so who's your audience? But also, how are you bringing people in? Because you can focus on who you think is your audience, but if you do the story right, more people are going to come in than you thought were your audience, because they are looking for what you're doing, what you're selling, what you're providing. So with that, we're like at the hour, and it's been a fun hour and so much stuff. Next week's gonna be a little bit special, but as much as I want to go into details, let's just say it's gonna be something that a way that I've done this maybe a couple of times before, because of events that are happening. It's gonna be fun. So with that, have an awesome day. May this be a beautiful week and a month that just makes you smile and gives you blessings to take you into October and the rest of the year. Take care, and I will see you next week. Bye.